1 second.
Yeah.
Oops.
I tried to wait for that conversation then before I pushed the button, and it just didn't happen.
Oh,
So
sorry.
that's where we're at. That's the
Oh,
neat thing is, the minute you see the opening titles to a Larry Noir Presents show start to roll, you're going to get dumped in the middle of a conversation. It could be
Yep.
feminine hygiene products. It could be character building. You won't know. That's why you have to stay through that intro reel just to see what happened. I'm embracing it
sorry.
now. I might actually start like a poll in the future. Like, as soon as I
What
start
will
the
be the
opening
next
titles,
topic?
what are we going to drop you into? It could be explosive canine diarrhea. Who knows?
Oh my god.
No. Okay, I will handle my
Getting your
late homework
That's
for
hey.
D&D on my own. I
If
apologize.
anybody's
okay.
used to dealing with late homework, it would be me.
I
It's
know I leveled
perfectly
up, but I
fine.
can't remember if I did what I needed to do to level.
Yes, Tiffany is a little bit less than her usual cosplay tonight. So her hair
Yeah.
is radically different. This is the real Tiffany in
Oh, did
her
somebody comment on
full
this?
self.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Bravo, by the way, for gifting subs right out of the gate. It is awesome to have the support of the community. It makes it so much easier to feel like we can keep this going beyond just a couple of small games here and there, but we can keep creating content for everybody, which is why I love to do this. Almost as much as I just love playing Dungeons and Dragons with neat people. And if it weren't for streaming, I would not have met these amazing players that I play with every week. And if you want to talk about timing, welcome Raiders. You've just landed at exactly the start of the game, which is like we did not coordinate.
Hey everyone.
But welcome aboard. I'm going to actually kick things off with a round robin of introductions among our players so that we can introduce everybody. And before I do that, Esteki, again, thank you so much for your ongoing support. It means a lot. You are an amazing friend and a great co-gamer. So on that note, let's talk about who we're going to be playing with tonight. I'm going to kick it around the table. We're going to start with the ones who aren't finishing their homework. So I'm going to start with Molly to go first and introduce themselves and who they're going to be playing tonight.
So, hi everybody. I'm Barely Molly, or Bear, or Molly, whatever you prefer. And I play Ember, a Fire Ganassi rogue. Oh my god, it's been a hot minute. I forgot everything already. But I do know that I am here to steal shinies and get that sweet sneak attack. I also think we leveled up to 5, and I now have another move, which is like cunning action or cunning dodge or something. So look out, Rob, because now I have something else up my sleeve. Sorry, suddenly I couldn't find my unmute. Hi, I'm Tiffany, and I am playing Shona Ilharan, your favorite librarian barbarian, or barbarian librarian, or whatever. Just get your books back on time, you'll be fine. I've also leveled up and totally forgotten what I got on leveling up, so we'll see if I can remember as we go. I'm so glad to be back, though.
I am playing Jansen, who is an elf, monk, fighter, person, bad, awesome person, and it's been so long, like everything's all like wonky in my brain. Oh yeah, and I leveled up to level 5, and now I can attack twice, and I can mess with other people's ki in their body. I'm excited. It's gonna be fantastic.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. No, you're fine. I'm Jess, or Enceladus, and I am playing Mir, kind of misanthropic, people disliking but adventure loving bard. It's been a while. We've had a break for a bit. I'm really excited to be back. I've missed D&D a lot. And probably either the next D&D stream or the one after that, I will actually be in Sweden. What? So finally.
And then I am Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and I am the the dungeon master or game master for this game. I'll be playing the part of literally everybody else, which is why I have water handy, and I also have an ample supply of whiskey. So hopefully those two ingredients will keep me where I need to be, and we can get through this.
I think I finished my homework.
Yay! Once again, not the only time I've seen someone walk into class and go, "Oh, hang on, right."
That's exactly what I felt like, though. I was like,
long time.
Okay, so I also want to make sure I've updated one more thing. What am I drinking tonight? I am drinking Old Smoky salted caramel flavored whiskey. So that is definitely, that's one of my go-tos. And thank you, Nebula, for bringing your peeps over at the end of your show to hang out with us. If you're not following her, you absolutely should be, because she is an amazing content creator and a dear, dear friend, and someone I absolutely adore and love supporting. Has been with me for my entire streaming lifetime. I started watching her stream. It was one of the first streams I started following. It's, I think, the first one I subscribed to. And she's just an amazing and supportive content creator. Like a lot of other streamers I've met, and I will shout out when they pop by, is very free to share with the community what they're doing, how they're doing it, and to help you learn how to be a streamer yourself, if that's the thing you think you want to do. Okay, I think those are all set. Those are all toggled right. I just have to update a little bit of paperwork on that. Mir's new hit point total is 27. Is that accurate? Okay, I have that updated. Or do I need to hit refresh on that?
am I supposed to, did we
33.
rest?
Yes, you have fully rested.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why my thingy isn't.
Nope. All right, I got that updated there. All right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought yours had gone up, so let's get the paperwork in place.
Yes,
and
my
then
hit points are now 33.
AC is still 13, right?
Takes me forever to find things. Sorry, AC. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cool, because that's gonna be what that is. All right, so let me get where I can see that. That looks good. That looks good. I think we're good. Are we good? Okay, then we should be good to go. Okay. All right. So, when we last left everybody, we wrapped up, you had successfully put Jansen's demons to rest. That door has closed. Your work in the domain of dread wrapped up on that. You fought off one of the entities that was vying for power within it, but not necessarily the power behind the domain. Your experiences there left all of you somewhat the worse for wear, making it very reasonable that you would find a place that you recognize to fall back to, reconnoiter, put some word out. Ear, thank you for that. I'll talk about that in a second, but appreciate the support, and we'll tell everybody that's new to the stream why that was so important that you did that, and thank you for it. It'll update hopefully here in a few seconds. And that makes Candlekeep Fortress the most logical place to head. Shona is obviously going to be sending notes out to her family to confirm that everyone is okay, and to hopefully secure the knowledge that whatever you came across in that particular domain of dread was a shadow of her siblings and not her actual siblings. Because otherwise, the next family reunion is going to be très awkward.
A little interesting. The family games are usually the problem, though. Nobody's good at the egg toss.
Fair enough. So you make your way back to Candlekeep. The good news is you have received word from Show's aunt that they will try to send someone there to help carry some letters from the family to reassure that everything is fine. The plan is to use the Candlekeep Fortress as a bit of a central location you can meet at, as opposed to Branch, which is much smaller and not easily as accommodating to seasoned adventurers. There's even a small bit of concern about the last time Mir was in the tavern and whether or not it would be wise to let them come back in a second time. So, especially a more powerful version of Mir.
Oh, their son wasn't that bad.
You notice Jesse's not arguing at all with this.
Nope.
Like, yep,
A
that makes
wise
sense.
choice.
That makes sense. And no fair talking about barbecue third tier if you're not bringing enough to share. We can absolutely hook you up with post office boxes to send it to in coolers. We'll eat it on the next stream.
Now, have we heard about how Branch turned out? That's all cleared up. The curse is all lifted and stuff. Find that out when we get back to Candlekeep.
Did we lift it? I don't think we lifted it. We kind of
Send
were like
somebody.
chasing pieces, right?
So Connie said that she would send somebody to Branch when we solved her problem. But the thing is that we did solve her problem, but we didn't go back and check. So I don't know if they sent anybody to Branch.
That's what we found out. It was one of the letters to Connie.
Yeah. It was the like thieves group in Baldur's Gate sent the books and everything back to her. So
you put the band of cutthroats and thieves, the werejackals, in charge of making sure all proper communications were made.
But there's nothing's gonna go wrong.
Because nothing could possibly go wrong with that plan. Not a thing could possibly go wrong. As promised, you'll notice in the bottom corner of the screen is the Book of Fate. This allows our party to twist fate to their advantage. It's 100 pages per twist, and they can twist it no more than twice per skill check. And periodically, for dramatic purposes, the DM may simply declare that fate cannot be twisted in a particular instance because, darn it, it's too dramatically appropriate. For maybe this time, failure is indeed an option. So, just as an FYI. But that book is there for you to participate. You will also notice on a significant cooldown, there is a channel point reward that will also allow them to force a reroll in a particular instance. So, that's also a possibility. Okay, Plan C. I don't even want to know what Plan C was. You arrive back at Candlekeep, and lo and behold, your favorite guard is still there. He's still manning the gate you approached a long time ago. He looks probably about 10 years older than you last saw him. He's sporting a lot more
It's not been 10 years.
Oh, what has happened?
Oh, you guys. It's good to see you again. You've been on adventures, I heard.
Hey,
That's what we're here
Roger. Steven.
No, Steve.
What was your name again?
Either one
I'm trying
works
to look
fine.
at my notes.
Steven, Roger,
Steven, because everybody was calling you Roger. We found out your name was Steven.
It's Steven. It's Steven.
Can
You
I
look like a
just call
Steven.
you Gerald?
No. We've got different connotations with Gerald. There's types now. We're
I
getting into
miss
types
Gerald though.
with every shot so far.
Ironic.
Like, Lenarius isn't going to be happy unless, like, Jansen has somebody to both hate and fear at the same time.
Yeah, basically.
Good. That's a pretty nice. I don't think we really fear Steven.
No,
It's not a bad thing, Steven. It's not bad. It's not bad. You're just so nice. You're just so nice that, gosh, we just want to be friends with you.
Well,
So badly
at least here, if they got to call me Roger, it's better than guard number 6.
Really what's important is, do you have a last name? Do you have a last name?
No, my family's not one that actually has to worry about such things.
See, you're pretty important then. It's only the most important people that only go by one name. I mean, you, Connie,
Oh,
else is
no. That she's got a lot of names. Have you ever asked her
Yeah.
her name? It takes
No.
like 20 minutes for her to get through it.
Well, in that case, you're more important than she is because you only need one name to define you.
That's fair. Stephen DeGard is usually what they call me.
Oh, see, you've even got a title. Hey, Steven, how are you?
Well, it's been a while.
Hasn't been that long.
It's been a bit.
How long?
Probably about
weeks?
maybe about 2 months,
2 months? Oh, wow.
But it looks like he's aged for 10 years.
give or take.
You look quite
First time around here?
tired there,
Oh.
Stephen.
Yeah. The youngest is a teenager.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna clap him on the back. My mom always said, get him into a group, a band, sport team.
Oh, she
Guard.
joined an adventuring party. I think that's where a lot of the gray hairs have come in.
Yeah. Which party? No, we'll keep an eye out for. What's she doing these days?
I tried to avoid paying attention. Last I heard, there was something about a portal in Waterdeep she was gonna go check out.
Right.
When was
right?
the last time you
She's
heard
not too
from her?
bad of a problem, I'm sure.
Yeah, when was the last time you heard from her?
Oh, she and her friends, they took off about a month ago, I think.
And you didn't think... Does she normally go away for like a month at a time without talking to you?
Well, it's
She's a
in
teenager.
Waterdeep. How? I mean, it's not exactly like she's all spellcasty and can, transmit messages over 8 or 12 miles.
Well,
How
I'm,
old is she?
I'm sure she's
Teenager.
fine.
New adventures, low level, right?
But-
it all adds up.
Connie
fine.
Connie knew you were coming, and she wanted me to make sure you got the best arrangements in the house.
Oh.
Steven, oh man,
Beer?
this warms our cockles.
Unfortunately, the best accommodations are all booked solid.
Oh,
Well, then you didn't really follow
Do the
her
second
directions.
best? Have
Well,
beer?
Follow me, and I'll show you what we found. It's just
Oh,
for
dear.
tonight. Hopefully tomorrow something will open up. It's just been a really weird month. There's a lot of people coming into the castle. A lot of there's been like a massive spike in some research. So it's just
Festival?
got. I don't know if it's a festival or not. I think it's an entire philosophy about the natures of good and evil. I overheard a couple of guys talking about the idea that no individual race can itself be predisposed within its genetic codes towards one or the other, that every decision to be evil is made by an individual, not by the actual DNA inside the body, which I only understood every third word, but it sounds to me like a whole lot of just try not to kill too many people.
It sounds a lot like all the universities are on break.
And they're all here, and they're all talking. Yeah. And some of them come back drunk. And it's not fun helping people find their rooms drunk.
Well, okay, you're doing it wrong then. Because you totally can have a lot of fun helping people find their rooms drunk. Well, you know what? We'll talk later, Steven. I'll give you some tips. It'll be great.
He leads you through the keep, and you start going down flights of stairs. And eventually you come to a massive hatch trap door that he pulls open and shows you a spiral staircase that works its way down from there. This is one of the best places for quiet contemplation. It's called the Firefly Cellar. It's not exactly the best accommodations, but there's a lot of books down here, and it's good if you're the sort that likes it quiet when you work.
That sounds nice.
Don't have to fight off the college university folks, huh?
No, there won't be nothing going on to bug you down there. You should have a good night's sleep, and then, like I said, hopefully one of the study rooms will open up tomorrow, and we can move you up into it, and you'll be fine.
it was called the Firefly Keep?
Cellar.
Yep.
What? Firefly Cellar, that's an interesting name.
Okay.
It doesn't take you very long to recognize why it is called the Firefly Cellar. You're only about 10 steps down when you see your first glass case hanging where a lantern or a lamp would be hung that is literally full of fireflies.
Aww.
And there's a small bowl of sugar water in the bottom, and they just keep, like, the entire way down is lit by these collections of fireflies.
Fascinating. You have to change them out? Let them go for a little bit, get some fresh air, get some new ones in.
Oh, we gotta release all these fireflies into the room.
That'd be pretty.
As you say that, you get to you're approaching the bottom of the stairs, and a woman's voice greets you very calmly with, "Please do not. They are not used to the freedoms."
Hello.
No, it's a tall woman, an elf, who is standing at the bottom of the stairs to greet you.
Hi, I'm Ember.
No, it's not Connie.
No, it's not Connie.
Connie's occupied. And she nods her head. I had been told we were expecting guests this evening. My name is Varnier. I am the head scribe of this particular subdivision of the keep.
Pleasure to meet you, Varnier.
I'm
Joe. Pleased to meet you.
You have the bearing of one who understands books. Are you researching down here, and these would be your bodyguards?
I'm from the Ilaharan library.
Oh, yes.
Guard.
I have dealings with my uncle a lot. He often will travel through. Yeah, these are totally my bodyguards. New to the Graham. Yeah, training them up.
And they have names?
Yes. So Ember introduced herself, and then this is Mir, our sometimes music player when the inspiration suits her, and Jensen. Jensen needs no definition. Jensen is Jensen.
Did you call me a bodyguard?
Well, technically, she called you a bodyguard. I just rolled with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking to her.
Did
you call me a bodyguard?
I assume that's your role. Are you a scholar? A book
Why
right?
do you judge a book by its cover, dude?
Oh, my apologies.
Thank you.
What is your search? Your current thesis on?
You know, there's more than 2 types of people in this world, my dude.
Okay.
Probably
I
not.
don't have to. I could be more than just a my thesis is murder. There's more than just bodyguards.
I believe they are currently researching hauntings, demonic possession, and how the spirited demons interact in the plane of dread versus the plane we are currently on. And Joe's just gonna keep going.
Fine being a bodyguard.
I think people don't talk to the bodyguards as much.
Fair enough. Very well. If you'd like, would you like to spend some time in the stacks, or shall I show you to the room we've been able to provide for you?
Should we start?
Does
the
our room
then?
have beer?
I don't believe it does at the moment. We could send for some.
I think that's.
Then I will choose the room.
I would like to look around, though. If you're willing to give us a tour, I'd love to look around. These fireflies are beautiful.
Okay.
Maybe we dump our extra stuff in the room, though.
Yeah, for sure.
More than
Big
reasonable.
bedroom.
She leads you out into the center of the main room that makes up the center piece of the cellar. And it has a box text that's actually kind of well written. The musty smell of old books hangs in the air here. Concentric rings of bookcases dominate the space, with a heavy granite table occupying the room's center. The table would be a circle, but for 6 semicircular gapes cut into it around its edge, creating spaces for 6 chairs. Small stacks of books rest on the table, along with a candle holder that holds firefly-filled jars. You take a moment as you walk in, and again, so it's a round room with curved bookcases that create rings, working their way into that center study table. In particular, 2 rings of books of bookcases.
Rings of bookcases?
Hmm?
Like rings of bookcases, circles?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me drop this on the Jamboard for you to see, because it might help with that visualization in case I'm not nailing it, which is entirely possible.
What page are you on?
It's just hard for me to picture like a bookshelf in a circle because they're square.
No problem.
I'm just picturing lots of gaps, and I'm just like, I don't like it.
Yeah, not working.
Imagine you're in a turret and it's lined with books. So you've got that circular, the shelves are just curved.
I just dropped it on page 3. So it looks like that.
Ooh, cool.
Got it.
Page 3.
And that's a
Yep,
table
arm
with
down.
chairs in the middle.
Yep.
I like that a lot.
It's pretty slick.
Gorgeous. I bet this, but like picturing it in my head with the firefly glow and like them moving around. Oh, it's got to be so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. As you step out towards the table in the center and you look upwards, you also see a massive sculpture of an open book in flight hanging above the center table.
Like the book is flying.
Like the book is flying. So it's open spine up with the pages down, as though it's going to flap itself like a bird.
Does it look like the books that attacked us previously?
If you want it to. Like,
I was just curious.
Is there a person in here that could be casting a spell on this book?
no, but when I mean massive, I mean it's a 10-foot by 16-foot book sculpture hanging from the ceiling.
Oh.
So it's
Oh, okay. It's not
like a
a
living
flying book.
it's the statue. It's not a
Decoration.
flying statue of a book. It's a statue of a flying book
Right.
Okay.
suspended from chains above you.
It's an
Amazing.
installation.
And it definitely dominates the space above you. Vernier will smile when you look up at it and go, no one has yet really discerned what the plot of that particular tome is covering. It seems to be open to those pages left between chapters. More's the pity.
At 10 feet, it's covering every subject that's studied at that table.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
If it now shows curious.
You don't see a lot of rogue fireflies, but there are a few here and there that have gotten out of their cages. If you hold out your finger and hold perfectly still, one might even land on it for a moment before flying off again.
What are the circular in the outer ring of bookshelves? There are these 4 circles. What are those?
Columns to hold up the floor above,
Gotcha. Okay.
which Vernier will also comment, there is a floor above you of more books. And so there's the space above the table is cut out so you can see the sculpture hanging down in the space. If you were to go back up the flight of stairs to the level above, you would be at the same level as the book.
So is this like a tower going into the earth, the cellar?
Yeah, you've gone down.
Okay.
It's like a tower going the wrong direction.
Yeah, okay. And
I'm
how
gonna
many
take this
floors-
and give it to like an architect and have them actually build it.
Yeah.
It sounds really beautiful.
Yeah.
But
How
there
many
are,
floors down did we go to get to this cellar?
Probably not that many.
Okay. But we're pretty far under
You're under
the surface level.
You're under Candlekeep, but I wouldn't say you're like 80 feet down. It was
Okay.
probably about 10 feet maybe you descended before you got to the first floor, and then another 10 feet to the second floor.
Okay.
So it's not like it would take you hours to climb back up again,
Right.
unless you walk really, really slow.
Unless you were releasing every jar of fireflies.
Oh no. We see Ember off in the corner like counting.
Doing math. It's that like math meme.
Right. Vernier leads you from there. She starts to take you down a hallway that comes off of this particular. There we go. Hang on, I have to put this where I can find it more easily. I'm going to put it over there. Okay, cool. So make sure I can see all the different things I have to keep track of here because I've been missing our Zoom chat too. Sorry. She takes you to, across the room to another set of stairs that spirals down. So that's the far west side of the circle. You can then head on down. There's a hallway that kind of extends through the earth, at the end of which it opens up into it turns and opens to a hall. She indicates the room 3 doors down on the right is where you're going to be staying. Immediately when you walk in, there's a kitchen that makes up the whole space to your left. And there are 3 doors on the left and then the 3 on the right. And there's a door at the far end of the hall. As you walk, she explains, that at the end of the hall is where Crinkle has made her nest. You'll probably meet her in the morning. She's already bedded down for the night. Be patient. She's Kenku. They tend to communicate differently than most of us. But she's incredibly wise and an incredibly talented scribe. She writes nearly as fast as I do, and I've had several hundred years practice. As you make your way towards your room, the second door on your left creaks open, and you see small fingers kind of come around the door frame, and otherwise darkness, like maybe a halfling. To which Vernier immediately clucks her tongue. You should be in bed. And then, punk, the fingers are gone and the door closes.
Who is that?
Galeby. She was supposed to be asleep an hour ago. Her father is very particular about things. It's better that he not know she's up and about.
And who's
Could
her
it
father?
just be
Ebder? The kind man. He's a little out of his league. His wife passed a few months ago.
Oh, that's very sad.
Yes. Galeby has been staying with us since. She's a sweet child. But gets a little ahead of herself sometimes.
libraries can do that too? They're very exciting places.
She's not much of a reader.
Oh,
She's more of
you
a...
could have a lot of adventures in the library.
She gets down to the door and she starts to open the one that'll be yours, which is, again, that last one on the right. She's more of a... This book seems to have pages that are blank. They should be filled with pictures type.
She sounds like a smart girl.
Clearly, you've rebound many books, thus decorated.
You know, sometimes it's a good spot for an illustration. There's lots of words in books. Sometimes you need a nice reprieve.
Understandable. But here's a place for you to be for the evening. She opens the door and the room is comfortably apportioned. It's not exactly luxury. You've stayed in larger spaces. But it's non-offensive. A beautiful painting of Candlekeep on the south wall looms over 5 beds that crowd this room. A narrow shelf is tucked in the northeast corner, holds jars of fruit preserved and pickled vegetables. Now, you had asked for beer. Is there anything else you need this evening?
Some meal would be good. I don't know how long we've been traveling or what time of day it is.
Oh,
And do you happen to have like a little map of this place that maybe so that we don't get lost? It seems like it could get kind of mazy in here.
oh no, I suppose I could draw one for you, but it's really just this hall, and then if you go back the hall we came down, it'll take you back up into the stacks.
Okay.
Now there are a few other rooms. There's the scriptorium, there's the binding room, but you won't need access to those. I mean, do you plan on copying tomes and helping out while you're here, or are you simply intending to take advantage of the free space?
Oh, I could do a little help, but could I see
The binding room sounds interesting.
Yeah. We've got a much smaller, probably smaller section back at Ilharan Library, but I know that my siblings back there would love to know what you guys have going on. And your scriptorium?
Well, I suppose we could head back up there and I can show you if that's something that you feel necessary. And she glances at Jansen and Ember as to see if they're following along or if they look like they're just going to plop.
How much walking is this going to be?
Well,
Where are you going? A binding book room? Is there like a pop-up book section or?
I'm afraid not. We don't see many pop-up books. There have been a few from time to time that have made their way through, usually crafted ones that involve some kind of a music box or other interesting creation. But no, we don't usually traffic in those. You're welcome to stay here. I can show your two companions up to the scriptorium and binding room before you come back down. The food should be along shortly. I don't think I'll have to get that for you.
I'll wait here.
Excellent. And you're welcome to anything you might find in the kitchen at the end of the hall. It's free to everyone to
Anything?
use. Absolutely.
All the knives go missing.
I was gonna say, any in the kitchen. If it's in the kitchen, we can help ourselves to it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And she kind of looks slightly dazed as she pulls herself up to her full height and starts to walk back towards the stacks again. So we're going to cut to Mir and Shona are going to look around. Do I have the measure of that? Okay. Well, she leads you back up the stairs and to the main floor and says, well, I suppose I can show you the scriptorium first if you'll come over here. And that northern corner on the main floor is a room dedicated to copying books. It's as simple and important as it may sound. Let's see here. All around, fireflies float lazily like embers caught in the air. 3 writing desks sit against the north wall with a sheepskin rug beneath each one. On one of the desks rests a book beside a stack of paper, along with a stoppered ink jar and a porcupine quill pen. Another desk has a leather case on it. A moldering tapestry hangs off-center on the west wall. To the southeast is a wood-paneled door with a wood-paneled wall with a closed door set into it. A weak yellow light emanates from beneath the door. Vernier will indicate the doors. That would be the firefly hatchery. That's where we help cultivate the fireflies to provide the light for us down here. Doesn't involve any magic and completely safe around the books in the confined space. We've been very lucky.
Fascinating.
At no time in my stay here have we had anything even approaching a fire.
That's very impressive.
Hmm.
Not many libraries can boast that.
Indeed. The brilliance of the fireflies. And for a little bit of sugar, they provide all the light we need when we need.
Very impressive.
Thank you. Did you have
I
questions?
wonder if they missed the outside.
I wouldn't know. None of them have complained about their current employment.
You speak first?
Well, one would think perhaps if they were that disgruntled, they'd find a way to communicate.
I could speak to them. You've never asked them?
No, I'm not adept at speaking to insects. You often
Quick
have...
DM question. Does speak with animals, is that mammals or does that cover a broader range of creatures?
It's a first level spell slot and you're going to bed in a little while. Do you want to burn it?
Nope.
No.
I was just curious.
No, I mean...
it's just like they're like, we have this
you're going to
hatchery
bed so you get
where
your
we...
spells back.
Yeah.
You could totally do
Oh.
it.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
You're about
Can
to
I
have a
find out
long
if the
rest. You
fireflies
can
are...
totally cast
happy?
Speak with Animals.
Can I just find out if they're like, I don't know, I would feel sad if there were all these fireflies like trapped indoors, like passing along, like, I don't know, tales of the outdoors from their ancestors. Like, that'd be very sad.
I
So
started by thanking them for their service, like thanking them for the light and seeing how they're doing.
yeah. So like maybe I could just find out if they're happy and
Okay.
pass along that the librarians are extremely grateful for the like non-smoky fire that they provide.
Let's see. Casting time. 1 action. So it doesn't take that long to kick in. Duration's 10 minutes. Okay.
What does a firefly sound like?
It
We're gonna
takes
find out.
it takes a little bit of time to tap into their speech and their thoughts, because it is nothing like you've ever tried to interact with before. It takes a few moments for you to start to pick out individual syntax, and most of the thoughts are not phrases as much as individual words. Up, down, flight, breed, light, food, breed, flight. It's rather than like overhearing conversations, you're listening in on instinctive synapse firings. And most of them are feel if there's no pain. None of them you hear no sounds of anger. You no sounds of hostility. You do hear a lot of breed and a lot of light as thoughts. Now, whether or not they are breeding inside the lamps, it's hard to say. But that's kind of like eating and breeding seem to dominate everything you're overhearing. After about maybe a minute or so, you're starting to think, maybe I don't need to go the full 10 minutes of listening in on this. There's a little party that's actually starting to feel uncomfortable with the idea that maybe they don't have a lot to say and you don't know how much you have to offer. Because
Maybe I'm just really bad at the language.
Yeah, well, you start to say, are you happy? And you get an immediate feedback of unknown, 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 unknown. Like they can't comprehend some of the like. Do you feel? What is feel?
Mm-hmm.
And then happy. What is happy?
Did we just get into philosophical conversations about happy with fireflies?
I have to like keep player and like characters separate because I actually have a friend who researches depression in fruit flies.
Oh my gosh.
And so like putting the feelings aside on insect emotions, but
let's split the difference. I'm going to do this really quick. Are you planning another stream with Third Tier, another podcast in the near future?
Yeah, I think we're podcasting Friday.
Well, there you go. I just posted in the chat. You totally, if you're not following Jesse, you have to. I have a funny feeling you're going to get a long conversation about the more appropriate response I should have given to what goes through a fruit fly, through a lightning bug's brain.
I don't even know, like, what, like, species they are compared to, what are they, Drosophilus or something like that? But anyway, totally did not mean to derail.
Oh, no.
The stream. I just got excited about the thought of talking to fireflies.
Not only do we derail the party, but we have now given you a whole separate stream conversation that you have to go research.
Oh God, yeah.
Cutscene. As you are rooting around the kitchen, taking stock of what knives they have, Ember and Jansen have a chance to do that, and food is brought in.
Oh, I would like to leave. As soon as they go, I would like to try to take some jars of fireflies.
Okay. Is Jansen watching this, or are you off?
Oh, I am watching it, and I'm trying not to smile, but I'm actually really enjoying it.
So Ember is attempting to dislodge one of the firefly jars from the wall.
Or if I don't see anybody and it's the ones in the candlestick, I'll take the whole candlestick. Like, didn't you say there were like jars of them on candlesticks and like on desks and stuff? Yeah. I can't just like sleight of hand some of these guys.
we put our bags down. So now what, like I've got this image of Ember like pulling her shirt out and like trying to
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
jars.
I have a cloak. It's like literally like lumpy jars. Just I want at least like 3 or 4 jars of fireflies if I can.
Okay. You start to like pick things up and figure out how to get them into your pouch in a way that they're not going to break if they move. So a lot of like throwing things around.
I mean, I'm gonna go bring them into the room and like honestly release them.
Okay. Yeah, you get them in there. They're not that hard to open. They're meant to be so that the fireflies can be rotated out and their food can be refreshed. And so, yeah, you get in there, pop the top off. The fireflies kind of float out to the room and just kind of like make their way around haphazardly. And then Jansen will hear a voice at her knee. Actually, more like waist. She's going to get in big trouble for that. She shouldn't be doing that.
Who are you? Because you're being reasonable.
Oh,
And
I'm Galeby.
That little like the little girl.
And you look over your shoulder, you see nothing, and then you look down. And there's an 8-year-old human standing next to you in a nightgown.
what do you want?
Are you going to stop her? Because I don't think she wants to be in trouble. It's her first night down here.
She's a big girl. She'll be fine.
Oh,
Go away.
okay.
Go.
And she takes a few
Fine.
steps across the hall, and then she stops and comes back. I'm Gelby. What's your name?
Jansen?
Hi, Jansen. Do you want to see my room? And then
You know what? Sure.
she walks up and puts her hand out for you.
I take out my bow and I chill. I'm not that bad. I take out my bow and hold the tip of one end and lean it out for her to grab the tip of the other end. I don't want to touch her. She's a human. They're gross. I'm not gonna kill her yet. Jeepers. It's code ID. It's the code thing. Shoot her.
She kind of looks at your bow for a second, and then kind of pushes it, and walks up and puts her hand up. Come on, I'll show you my room.
Okay. Let's go.
And she grabs your hand, and starts to lead you into her room. It looks like a children's room. There's pictures that have been pasted up against the stone walls. There are a couple of dolls. There's a makeshift dollhouse, which is mostly filled with bookcases. And a bed that's completely unmade.
The dollhouse.
Like if you look in the dollhouse,
Made of bookcases, or like it has most
each
of the
room is a
bookcases?
library.
Do you like to read?
I'm not as good at it as Father thinks I should be.
Whose idea was it to have a dollhouse with just libraries?
Well, everyone thinks it's really fun to give me presents, and everyone wants to help me with my dollhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I'd like to have more furniture for it. So everyone made a bookcase.
So sad.
Fun.
Poor thing.
I wanted to have a shooting range.
Oh, what now?
You know, little targets and a little princess with a bow.
Are you gonna shoot the little princess with the bow?
No, silly. She's gonna shoot the bow at the targets.
I thought you were cool for a second. My bad.
Can Ember just be in the other room, mass producing origami flowers and talking to the fireflies? They haven't seen flowers. I want them to be able to see some.
Oh my god.
Are you gonna release them and try and get them to live in the flowers?
Yeah, like I want to fill the room with like origami flowers so that they can like land on them.
This is absolutely go for it.
Okay.
Not a problem. In after a few moments, you might notice in the hallway, but they're not going to intrude on your privacy. So if the door's even half closed, no one will notice. You can hear someone coming out and going down, and they come back. And if Jansen's still in the room with Galeby, you'll hear a "excuse me." And when you turn around,
Yes.
an older gentleman is standing in the doorway. He's wearing scholar's robes, and he has a look of just being tired. I'm very sorry, madam. You are one of the guests, and he's speaking to Jansen, of the keep.
Yes, I like your robes.
Thank you. You'll find that there is food has been brought down, and I believe 2 types of beer have been brought down. You'll find them in the kitchen.
Okay.
Excellent. And then I'll tuck Galeby back in. Sweetie, you should be asleep.
No, look, dude. We were actually having a really interesting conversation, so, you're kind of being a little rude, interrupting, and I would greatly appreciate it if you'd let me finish my conversation with a gabble.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry that we misunderstood each other. My apologies. I would never wish to cross one with the reputation of being a traveler and, well, a traveler as yourself.
Excuse me?
But Galeby is my daughter, and she should be asleep. It's getting late.
Oh, rude.
So perhaps you may let her have her rest so that we all aren't dealing with a cranky Galeby tomorrow.
I'm gonna, as she's doing this, I'm gonna bend down to Gabby illegal, and I'm gonna whisper in her ear and make it look like I'm just telling her good night. And I'm actually gonna tell her that when her mommy leaves, I want her to come outside back to our room so we can hang out.
Or when her dad leaves,
When her dad
right?
leaves?
Because it's her dad.
Yeah.
I think her
After-
mom
I
died
could've
a
swore
couple
it was a
months
girl.
ago.
No,
Oh
Fine.
jeez.
no problem.
When her dad
Fixed.
leaves.
She kind of looks at, she
That
gets
would have
this,
been awkward.
this look of and then she kind of giggles behind her hand. And then she boops your nose.
Boop.
And then runs to
Alright.
her bed.
Sweet. And as I'm walking out, I'm gonna take my bow I've been holding out and kind of sitting beside me. And as I'm putting it away and I'm walking past the guy, I accidentally hit him on the head with it as I'm putting it back on my. I'm
Yes.
so sorry, dude. So sorry.
Understandable.
Accident.
Yes. Yes, I understand. And he goes in, he kisses his daughter goodnight, tucks her back into bed, makes sure she's, cuddled up with her stuffed doll, and turns the cover for the firefly lamp in her room around so that it's darkened, and closes the door, and watches you to make sure you head down to the kitchen or to your room. And he will stand in the hallway
I'm not
as
hungry.
long as you do.
I decided I'm not hungry. I'm gonna go lay down.
Well, then have a restful
You
night.
open the door, it's just a sea of fireflies and origami flowers. Jansen, this one's name is Rebecca.
You also have Torg and Jinx too?
They're just all over.
That's fair. That's fair. Meanwhile, foomp, cutscene. Vernier's showing you into another room. This one's on the south side of the main level. And it has... This is the bindery. Leather bits, wood shavings, and paper scraps litter the floor near a large workbench. Tools and contraptions are organized neatly around a handful of books in different states of disrepair. Stools surround the bench, one of which has a leather apron draped over it. As you can see, this is where we do our work to repair any of the leather work or any of the other necessities of keeping a book bound in our collection.
You do magical binding too, or just the physical binding?
Physical. We don't repurpose magic books down here. If it requires magic to be held together, that's a different section of the library sees to that. Strictly physically bound books are within our coverage.
I'm a little disappointed. It's fascinating. It's really cool. Boy, you got some cool machines we don't have. I'm gonna take really bad notes for my siblings back. If there's anything I think looks cool, they can use. They're really rough sketch.
Okay.
Just general chatting with them to see what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she'll describe the process. She generally focuses on copying pages more than binding. That's not one of the things that she has a ton of experience with. And then she said that, unfortunately, there's not much else to show you.
Yeah,
it's a very humble space. Is there a particular book you'd like to have to retire with this evening, or shall I show you back down?
Down, I think. I'll just grab one. Just grab a random one off the shelf.
No problem. Well, you have a knack for always finding the book that you need.
I do. So I think I'll take this one.
Excellent. So you grab a book
or something,
and you tuck it under your arm and start humming to yourself as you walk down the stairs. Galeby does not pop out of her room when she's tucked into bed. So depending on how long you spend waiting for her to come say hello, she unfortunately does not appear. She's quite quiet behind her door and probably fell pretty fast asleep.
So when Mir and Shona walk into the room, it's full of fireflies and origami.
Yes.
I just forgot her name already. Vernier with us when we went back to our room? Or
she's going to show you to the kitchen where the food is laid out and there's the 2 pitchers of beer. And
yes.
Then she's going to remind you of what room you've been asked to take. And then she's going to disappear to her room for the evening.
Vernier.
It is getting late. She has to get her sleep. Where is she at? She's going to meditate in the room next to yours. So she'll actually come up to her door, which is next to yours, and just say, if you need anything, I'm right here in the room next to you. And then let herself into her room.
We go to open up our door. There's just
yes.
Is it just a wall of fireflies, or do any of them come spilling out?
They don't really spill out. They're kind of used to staying contained within a space. So most of them are about eye level or higher, and they're all kind of just floating around in like a very loose cloud. Until you pick up one of the jars. If you pick one up to investigate what Ember has done, you'll notice a small swarm will fly.
Big damn hero, sir! Ain't we just?
It's their food.
Thank you for that.
Their home too, probably.
Oh yeah, I've left all the lids of the jars open, so if they want to get a snack, they're free to.
When I come in the room, I'm gonna kind of rush over to Ember and be like, I talked to the fireflies.
Is this one's name Rebecca? Because I've been calling her Rebecca this whole time.
They seem to, I still have a lot to learn about the language, but they seem to be rather single-minded with one of 2 purposes.
Is one of them origami flowers? Because I made him a bunch.
Wander over to Jensen.
That would be eat.
We should. It's more food.
Yeah, Mir's just gonna get like really flushed. Be like, maybe they eat from the flowers and just kind of like walks away.
I will absolutely also be following up on this more because I am terribly curious.
No.
Now that you've started, like I didn't think I'd have to research this. Kids, take a note. Your players will ask questions you weren't ready for. By the way, Eric, thank you for bringing everybody over here. Eric is an amazing content creator, and he is a dungeon master himself. He DMs offline, but that doesn't make him any less of a DM. And I don't. Maybe we'll get him online eventually. But he is an amazing content creator and a brilliant educator and a professor. And as soon as I can, I'll throw the shout out his direction. But thank you for bringing all you people over. We're playing D&D tonight. And the party is just bedding down for the evening. One time is all it takes, my friend. You now are a dungeon master. Wear the hat with pride.
So you weren't thinking you'd have to write. Oh no, go ahead.
Firefly dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's probably not something that maybe
I'll have it ready for next time.
Just as a heads up, then.
Right now?
What's up?
I said, is it okay if we take our quick break right now?
Absolutely, we can take a quick break.
Cool.
Let's take let me wrap up the moment, and then we'll take our break. You do get a chance to get your beer. You get some food.
Yes.
Sho sits down with her book, and starts to read through it and lounging in the bed. And at the same time, Ember does the same, collecting some fireflies, and Ember finds herself humming along to Sho. And on that, night falls. Let's take a 5, stretch, get some blood in our legs, grab some water, and we'll be right back. I'm going to be active in chat, though, if you want to keep asking questions about what's going on tonight. See you guys back here in 5. I'm back. And we're just waiting for the last of our players to get back from their potty break. So I just want to take a second to thank Eric for bringing everybody over. I'm having a really hard time. My bot, it looks like CloudBot went down, and I'm trying desperately. Linarius is being an absolute sweetheart and is trying to coach me through rebooting it, but I think I'm just going to wait till tomorrow when I have some more time that I can dedicate to playing with the settings and get it back up. But I think everyone here probably has enough Twitch savviness. There's enough times we've brought up Eric's name in chat. You can find him and you can check him out. But he's a great content creator. And it doesn't matter how many times you've Dungeon Mastered. Once you've done it, you're a DM. Once you've read page 1 in the DM's guide, that is a title you bear. And here's the worst part. You're never going to be a player again. It never happens. Once they know it's out there that you can DM, it's kind of like being the first guy to turn 16 in any social group. You're like, sweet, I can drive everybody. And from that moment on, you are the designated driver. You could be 48 and people will still like, well, yeah, but you're the one who drives. That just comes with the territory. So get used to it. But then that's another chance too, while we're in the break, to thank everybody that's coming out tonight. Thank you for the support so far. Thank you for the subs and the cheers. It's really fun to create this content with everyone, and it's fun to play with these people because they're amazing to play with, and it's so much fun to share it with everybody on the stream because it's fun to do it with a group. It's the same thing like running something at a convention. It's one thing to do it in the privacy of your dining room. It's another thing to do it with people around, kibitzing and kicking ideas around. And I love having the chat present. There are no rules. The rules are whatever we need to keep the game fun. There's just a book with some suggestions of ones you should try out, which is a lot of the fun. At least I find. I'm going to bring everybody back up. We're still waiting on Molly, but she's got her camera off, so it won't break anything. It's not like we're going to peek in on her living room or anything weird like that. But we'll get that up. So managing stuff. Yeah, something like that. Well, I joke a bit about it too, that I actually now have streaming on my resume because I'm very happy in an interview to say, oh yeah, I've learned a lot of skills doing this. And not just like
that's
streaming.
That's part of what got me my current job offer. They had seen my stream and they were like, there's so much that goes into streaming and I don't even do it very well, but like there's all the kind of production stuff and the like community management and like it's a lot of different things that you can learn from streaming. And I feel like a lot of that does pertain to a lot of different jobs.
Mm-hmm. I look at it like I can learn just about anything I have to.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's so many things. And then when you would do a Dungeons and Dragons stream or roleplay game stream, it's like, and then you have scheduling and you have casting and you have remote tech support and all these other things.
It seems so hard to prepare for. I mean, our party in particular, we're spontaneous in a really wonderful way, but when I think about being a DM, I'm like, oh, I love making maps, I love telling stories. Wouldn't it be so much fun? And then I'm like, but wait, like you're gonna design this amazing, like, I don't know, building, and there's just kind of a closet or something, and then your players are just gonna get fixated on the closet for some reason, and you have to like scramble.
Okay, so story time. We were doing a LARP, and for those unfamiliar, a LARP is Dungeons and Dragons meets paintball. That is like the best way to describe it. And so we were all in costumes and stuff, and we were running out of my dorm basement. And so a couple of guys went on an adventure into the dungeon area, and they came across an empty chest. And one of the monsters said, "You can't take that. That has our treasure." And the guy said, "It's an empty chest." And the monster goes, "Yeah, well, that's because we cast an invisibility spell on it first." And so they killed the monsters and took the chest. And they spent the rest of the weekend lugging around an empty chest because they were convinced that this random orc was being more honest with them than the 5 other players who were casting detect magic spells and turning to marshals and go, "What do I see?" And the marshal pulls him aside, "You see nothing. It looks empty to me, man. You're just saying that to get our treasure." The whole weekend.
Oh God.
Finally, we get
That's
to
hysterical.
the thing is, we get to Sunday, and the guys say, we're going to take the chest with us, and we'll bring it back next month. We're like, why? Because we're going to find out what's in it. And we don't want you to repurpose it for a different story arc. We're like, dude, we run the game, and we're telling you it's empty.
Oh,
I don't
At
think we're
that
that
point-
bad.
at that point, you understand today's world a little better.
Insane.
I'm
Yep.
back.
Yay! How are we? Are we all good to go?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Good. Because we were prepared to riff for the rest of the night if we had to. So if you need to,
It sounded like you guys are having fun.
we can around the table various role playing horror stories that we've had. I'm sure we all have had them. Speaking of stories, the morning you wake up and find that your fireflies have been collected. Most of them have found their, you can see a couple of empty jars have been left in the room. Most of the jars have been gathered up while you were sleeping.
What about the origami?
The origami is still very neatly there. But for the most part, the fireflies have made their way into the jars willingly and are starting to like feed on the little things of sugar kept in the bottom of them. Or they'll maybe, if you left the base of one off to the side, you'll see a light on it, take a snack, fly off again, come back to it. So they're quite content to get back to work, to where their usual routine.
Really digging the firefly lights.
Yeah.
I will have put some tiny little origami flowers in the jars as well.
Sounds good. So Ember goes ahead and starts humming to herself as she casually starts to prep these. And then,
What's on your?
I heard you humming it. Now it's stuck in my head.
What is?
Is it a song I know?
you don't offhand recognize it.
Do I, as the bard?
Are you asking them to hum it clear enough that you can try to catch the melody line?
Oh god, D&D makes you suspicious of everything from chairs to music stuck in people's heads. I would say of what I've heard so far, because I was also with Sho when Sho started humming it going down the stairs, and now I've heard Ember humming it. Of what I've heard, do I recognize it or does it sound familiar?
Roll a history check.
Yay, I get to roll. Oh no, I'm remembering how I usually roll. Oh no, I was excited to roll a die and then I remembered history.
It's been a month.
Intelligence.
It's
I'm
been
not
a
very
month.
intelligent though.
The
Or no,
di-
I'm intelligent. I'm not wise. Okay, no, intelligence should be good.
They might be kind to you tonight. They miss you.
They don't miss me.
They don't hate you.
They're
not
just
bad.
toying with your affections.
They do.
Can I investigate if I've heard this tune before?
Yes. Can I what is it, intimidate my brain into remembering?
No. Yeah, it's hard to lock in. It's one of those kind of like it's just sort of there. Like you've heard it before, but like what the lyrics are, it's kind of like how did that song go? And if you focus on it enough, you can kind of pick up the dun 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 bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum. Like you find yourself humming it, but man, you just can't put your finger on exactly what it is. Now that you've been humming it a few times, go ahead and re-roll that. We'll do a combination of a re-roll / a little bit of a you've sung it enough.
I give up. Just put me in the bad dice closet. Like I'm in time. My dice are in timeout.
You do so well in combat though.
I know.
And we cannot blame D&D Beyond's right.
But me as the like player prefers this job. Oh, all right, it's fine. Okay, I guess I'm
all I know is
continuing
Sunday
to
night.
fail at being a bard.
I don't think Sunday night's group had a single die roll under 15.
Wow.
I'm lucky if I get one over.
I know, it was crazy.
What was it?
Maybe-
Your last Wednesday was like all 20s and 50s.
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's it's random.
It hates me.
So now you're kind of humming along as you think, but man, you don't remember the lyrics, but you
You're
know
humming now too?
the tune is a popular one. You think. Maybe. Either
We're
way.
definitely gonna have to ask Farnier what that song is, because it's stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel weird with is the song unusually stuck in my head, or is it just normal song stuck in your
it's
head?
like, if you'd like, I can start singing It's a Small World and we can all enjoy that being stuck in our head.
Well,
Ugh.
you know the song to get everything out of your head, right?
It's a Small World.
No, it's a Peanuts song.
Peanuts? What's a peanut?
From the Peanuts.
Oh, God.
The cartoon. You hum that, and it doesn't get stuck in your head, but it gets rid of everything else. It was research.
Dang.
Oh. Love Phone, are you listening to this? Take notes. He gets everything stuck in his head for like days, and like he'll sing it in his sleep.
Get it out.
You make your way out to find some food to start the day off. As you pass Gilby's room, she's up, and you can hear her playing and also humming the same tune as she's organizing her bookcases in her little dollhouse.
Is the door open?
Your door open? Yeah.
The door's cracked open, yeah.
Can I peek my head in? Hey, what's that song you're humming?
Oh, I was gonna knock it on the door. I was gonna...
Oh, hi. And she pulls herself. I'm Galby.
Remember.
Oh, do you want to play?
Yep.
Sure, and I'll hand her an origami flower and sit down on the floor.
Have you had breakfast yet?
Oh,
we should have breakfast.
Okay.
And you make
we
your
have
way.
a guest for breakfast.
You make your way down the hall towards the kitchen, and you immediately start to smell fresh cooked bacon, spiced potatoes, and it's all coming from down the hall, past the kitchen in the stacks area. Like you look in the kitchen, there's no fresh food there.
That's something to do.
Follow our noses.
Food.
Okay.
Yep.
So Galby trails along with you, because she's also confused. Usually, if there's any fresh food brought down for breakfast, it's here in the kitchen. So she's confused as well. And when you come up the stairs, so you go up the spiral stairs into the main floor of the library section of the cellar, and that center table underneath the sculpture that had different stacks of books on it has been completely cleared with a massive spread of breakfast choices.
Wait, before we touch it, can I investigate it?
What are you looking for?
Is this magical food? Is it trapped somehow? It seems like it's not in the right spot.
It seems out of place. Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, you go up and
Ever
start.
do food up here?
Galby,
I'm gonna go get bacon.
no, this is.
Yeah, you know what? I think Mir's gonna join show, and it's just hunger comes first.
Yeah.
And it's gonna start.
Before
I've
I
been here.
eat anything, I want to investigate it.
Shoot it. As you start to. Decepticons? Yes, the turkey
A
leg
little nibble.
transforms.
Good.
As you start to investigate, to look at it, you also notice there are two small kegs off to the side of the stacks that have been set up. And there's a tap and a small mallet sitting on top of them so the kegs can be tapped. They're not yet, though.
Are we the only people in here?
Is this someone's research? Are we eating magical food?
I could get into this
Seriously.
kind of research.
And you glance opposite. There's another pair of kegs, and they've been marked with the symbol for water.
What are the other kegs marked with any kind of symbol?
There's a date on them.
Do I need to roll an investigation, or do I just
no,
know?
you can start to investigate.
Okay.
You're gonna get what you need as you start to poke around and start to make a point of like this doesn't seem right. And you start to poke at it, and you're using some of that cantrip level arcanery to see what you can glean. Vernier steps out from where she's been standing in the stairwell. Says, "I'm glad you're here. The food's been brought down. go ahead and take a moment while I gather everyone else.
Cool.
Please help
Morning,
yourselves.
Veneer.
And she crosses the room and takes a moment to pause as she pats Galeby on the head. And she lingers for a moment before she heads back down towards the stairs.
Can I do some
didn't
type
take
of
any
check
food, though.
on Vernier? Like, do they seem
The same as
weird?
last night?
Sure, roll it.
What do I do?
What are you using? Tell me.
Can I investigate?
Are you investigation involves an active effort to discern the circumstances. So that would be an interrogating her. That would be checking to see what kind of footprints she's leaving and feeling the dirt to see if there's something odd about it or familiar. I don't know.
Versus,
Do
you mean
you
like
want to investigate, or were you thinking more maybe insight, just to kind of read her body language?
Oh, does anyone have anything better than a? I'll insight. I only have I have +0 in it, so.
For investigation, I have a +1.
I have a +2 investigation or insight?
Insight.
Insight's a -1. Big negative.
I got
one on that
+2. But you
Hey,
know how
how
I
about-
roll.
Can I
So-
Can I investigate and then you insight? See who gets better.
She might not like being investigated.
Okay.
I'm
Then
just
I'll
gonna
I'll
follow
just
her
do
a
an
little bit and
insight.
ask a question. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe the dice will be with me. I'll insight.
Okay.
They like you more than they like me. So your
Do they,
+0
though?
is probably. Yeah.
Do they? Let's see.
They don't really. It's only a 12.
I haven't done anything. I rolled.
A 12 is good enough for the situation. She's stressed and she has a worried look. Like there was something, like she's afraid of something for Galeby when she passed. That was not just a casual pump. That was a like, oh, you poor thing kind of moment.
I'm just gonna take Galeby's hands just to make sure that she doesn't eat the food for a second.
Okay. And she's
Hey,
like,
Galeby,
Look up at the-
let's just play a quick game, okay? Before we eat breakfast?
they have syrup for the oatmeal.
I know, but
And
it's a really fun
raisins.
game. It'll be a really fun game, I promise.
Okay.
And then I'm going to look very, away so that Galeby can't see me, but mouth to the others like something's not right.
I'm like fork to mouth, like.
Bacon can't be wrong.
Bacon's never wrong. Unless it's cooked poorly. Then, nope. Yeah.
As Vernier disappears down the stairs, you hear her singing under her breath. Dum bum bum ba da ba dum bum.
All right, that's it. Not want this song stuck in my head. Look at the book. Change from yesterday.
What do you need?
Did the book change from yesterday?
What
From
book? Oh,
last night? The book sculpture?
nope. Still a big book.
So the only thing really is that the table's been cleared and there are these, and like piled with food, and then there are these kegs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No self-respecting librarian is going to set up food and drink, especially alcoholic drink, in a main floor of the library. That's too much damage waiting to happen. And they did
You don't
not
have
have that kind of
keggers?
repair set up.
In the
Yeah, well,
library.
of course we have keggers. Not in the States. You know how hard that is to clean? Oh my god. And
And
the left, I mean,
Can I tap the beer keg and not drink it, but just like pour some and like see what it is?
Absolutely.
actually-
You can get the keg over on its end and kind of, if there's a couple of bits of wood there, you can use to brace it up like it's meant to be tapped. They left you a mallet.
So
Line it up and
I-
pop it in.
I have
This
the
I can
spell.
do.
I have the spell detect magic. Could
Uh-huh.
I do that on the food?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ooh.
while she's doing that, I'm just gonna whip out a plate of the pancakes and grab the syrup.
Okay. There are hotcakes.
Is that going to tell me what kind of magic, or it just tells me if there
If
is
it
magic?
is magic, you'll pick it up. You'll also pick up the school of magic that created it.
Okay. I'm casting detect magic. It says duration, concentration,
Up to 10 minutes.
up to 10 minutes. Yeah. And it's one action is the casting time.
No problem. You throw it out there, and the food is non-magical. And the keg is a very decent ale.
Does
It's
does detect magic work for 10 minutes? Like,
As long
can
as
I
you-
see other magic?
As long as you kind of keep it going in your head, you have to kind of keep focusing that you don't want to lose it. It's kind of like having a tune stuck in your head.
Okay.
As long as you can keep focusing on the spell, you have no difficulties continuing to look around to see if there's other magical items. Like, for example, you can spot Jansen's bow is still magical, as because I'm assuming Jansen doesn't go anywhere without it.
Nope.
I'm confident if you went all the way back and looked at the flail, it would show as magic, because I'm pretty sure Sho didn't bring it to breakfast.
Probably not.
I mean, if you did, I won't blame you, but it does seem a little out of character for you.
Yeah, it's early. I'm in the library. I wouldn't have.
It is that
Would have
kind of
something to it.
thing.
No, probably wouldn't have anything.
But yeah, you have a chance to kind of, you can keep looking around. I am going to need you to give me a wisdom save.
Okay. Just a
Everyone?
straight.
Nope, just Ember.
Ugh.
Oh,
Not my
Oh,
best,
this-
but not my worst.
Bell.
Total is
10.
a 10. Let's see.
Because I have no plus to this. It's +0. I am not wise.
It should be right here. Where is it? They always bury this stuff in the places you don't remember to look. 10 is good enough for now. Yep, you can keep the spell going without too much trouble.
Okay.
Is anyone humming the song while Ember's looking around with her detect magic up?
Is anyone choosing not to sing it?
I'm not.
Then you are not.
I'm probably humming it around bacon. I've been humming it.
If you're not making, at this point, if you're not making a conscious effort to
Stop
not
it. No.
hum it, you are humming it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you stop, then you stop. But
Is there any magic around Sho when she's humming it?
give me an Arcana check.
Oh, I got a +2. That's not bad.
Go do this. Nat 20.
Oh, shucks.
Wow.
No, it's a
Nope.
9 + 2, so
Nah.
11.
11's not enough to see if there's
Okay.
anything particular.
Okay. That's fine. Can't win them all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over and sit by Galeby with the pancakes and the syrup.
Can I investigate the breakfast food?
I'm investigating the breakfast food.
With
Tasty.
my mouth.
Nom nom nom.
I will touch all the breakfast food. I'll put my hands
mean-
in the syrup. I do not care.
Okay.
Syrup is
You
sacred.
you
Go do
poke this. You poke that. There it is. Okay, so it defaults
I'm
to
specifically looking for some type of poison or something.
that. Okay. You're not finding any. As you poke around, Vernier returns. She has with her Ebder, the elder man who's the father of Galeby. She's also joined by a Kenku, whose name you might recall is Crinkle,
Yep.
and a Tabaxi.
Describe.
Oh, it's Betsy.
Oh, Kenku are your first thought is that perhaps she's a were creature, like a half woman, half raven. But as she approaches, you notice that what would be her wings are actually her arms. And so perhaps she's more of like a flightless bird than a were creature. But she has hands at the end of the feathery hands that stick out of her robes as she comes along, and she has that telltale looking around in starts. that comes. Meanwhile, Mir has eaten 20 pancakes and is going for fourths. Well, I don't know. Depends how much she's had to drink at this point. It is early in the day. She's also...
Oh, no. Loaf had said, Ember, if it was gold or money, Ember would be all over it. But since it's food, Ember's being really cautious. So I was sorry, not trying to detract. Just
That's fair. That's fair. Also with Veneer is a tabaxi, which is a cat person. And she's also looking kind of surprised at the spread here in the middle of the main room.
I'm just gonna, as I'm feeding pancakes to Gilby. What's going on? You look really worried. This isn't normal.
I'm glad everyone's here. I have a bit of an announcement I need to make, and I want us all gathered for it.
Food's a good way.
I will cautiously eat some bacon.
Crinkle kind of like cocks her head up to watch, and the tabaxi takes a moment to raise an eyebrow. Ebder comes over and checks on, like goes straight to Galeby to check on her, and puts his hands on her shoulders as he listens. Veneer looks at everyone. I believe by now you've all noticed a particular tune has been stuck in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say this is not the first time that this particular tune has found its way into Candlekeep. 600 years ago, there was a report of something similar. The people who brought it found that it jumped from person to person, much like a virus. And I have been informed this morning via letter that the tune that we are all finding in our minds matches. And there is a concern that once again, the tune has been released in Candlekeep. Contrary to usual protocol, we have brought food and ale down so that we may be quarantined until a potential cure might be found and administered to the cellar.
Quarantined?
Yes.
How? It was 600 years ago and you still haven't found a cure and you want to keep us in this... We're quarantined?
You're going to run out of bacon.
You're going to run out of ale!
Yeah, you're going to run out of ale too.
Well, as of now, the hatch above has been sealed and magically locked in order to contain this. The concern is that if any of us leave, we could carry the tune with us, and with it, whatever curse it carries.
So if this happened 600 years ago, yeah, like what happened to the people? I mean, is it just, oh no, a contagious tune, we'll have this stuck in our heads, or did something happen to those people? There's
a great deal of confusion as to what specifically did happen. However, I can tell you that from the records that were able to be found by others last evening when I reported this, there is no record of them ever leaving the cellar.
This cellar specifically? They were also in this cellar?
Yes.
So let me get this straight. 600 years ago, somebody started humming a tune. And then other people started humming a tune. And then you locked them in and have no idea what happened to them.
Correct.
There was nothing... How do you know that this
Did
tune was
they
magical
die?
then?
I know that it wasn't just a really catchy song.
Efforts have been made to discern its properties, and there is a magical residue it leaves. It might be tied to some kind of madness, is the belief.
Do you think it's going to be worse than if Mir finds out we're out of ale?
Or I don't like being locked in places. You didn't consult with us at all. You just locked us in here.
Well, yes, but this is a situation where containment is essential.
Did you bring the notes about the disease or virus down with you before they locked the door?
Well, we have
hope
we have everything that we have down here if you're thinking that we might find a cure.
Absolutely. That's my first priority, is figuring out what this is, what it does, and how to cure it.
Because the other option is not okay.
Well, I would prefer not to go mad and die down here myself as well. And Ebner kind of
Good.
like looks with shock, and he clutches onto Gilby's shoulders. Perhaps I will go have a conversation with my daughter about the situation in her quarters. And
Sure.
he starts to shuffle her out of the room, and but I like the funny lady.
I'll hand her another origami flower
And she takes
and
it, goes,
wink.
and the other funny lady. I love how you're all like, she means me, right?
Amir's like, yeah, no, I've got alcohol. I reach in my pouch. I'm totally not the funny lady she means. I'm the pancake delivery lady, but I reach in my pouch. I'm going to grab a little journal book that it doesn't have anything in it. I'm going to hand it to her and be like, okay, you're getting out of this room. You're going to have to report back. Just write everything down. Take illustrations.
Okay. And they shuffle off.
So now that the kid's gone, what aren't you telling us?
I'm afraid there's not much more for me to tell.
But you mentioned
Well, how
sadness.
fast does it move?
We don't know. The records are very unclear. Only that the madness appears tied to the music.
Okay.
And that it brings insanity and death.
No one who was trapped in the cellar made a journal and left it behind?
I don't
Notes.
believe they have.
It's terrible record keeping for a library.
Well, it has been a significant amount of time since this has happened. And I would not be at all surprised if perhaps generations had passed between the closing of the cellar and the reopening of it.
I would like to immediately, just like when I made the map, I would like to start keeping a journal of like the date.
Okay.
Do I know like maybe the time and how, like when we found out the doors were sealed now, kind of like you know the journal that they find in Lord of the Rings, like the drums,
Yes.
drums and
Durin's journal.
Yes. I'm making Durin's journal, but it's just quick notes about symptoms, when we first started humming, when we're sealed in.
Okay.
And that way, if I do start to go crazy, maybe you guys can read it. I'll keep this open for everybody to look at. And
Can I do? I have large and significant bonuses to medicine, and so there's two things I'd like to do. I'd like to see if in my medical training I've ever heard of contagious madness or song or music related illnesses, but then also to like verbally assist Ember with the note taking. So like starting to kind of examine the people who've been humming and noting symptoms and things like that.
yeah,
Okay.
or like, do we
If
have
possible.
fevers? Are our eyes red?
Yeah.
Maybe you can look in like our ears. I'm pretty glowy. You could probably see really good in there.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Here.
Okay, come on, dice. Come on, dice.
Tiffany, what were you thinking
Don't
while
let
she's
me be a
rolling?
bar.
I was thinking of having Mir play a different tune and seeing if
+5.
this one gets out
Come
of our heads.
on.
It's not hard to do a basic. I mean, you can look with an 11. That's a solid. You can definitely tell right now everyone's in good health. Aside
That
from
doesn't seem like very much for a 600-year-old unsolved illness.
true. Give me one more question you want to ask about it.
So, so that can that roll be for? I guess did you say that was for like looking and examining people? Can I roll? I guess it might not be medicine, unfortunately, but to see if there's anything like any rumors or stories that I've either collected as a bard or learned about when trying to be okay.
Yeah, that'd
What
be
do
like
I
a
roll?
history check.
Oh, God.
But before you do it, can you hit your con save real quick?
No, but why? Okay.
Just real quick con save as you're starting to like think your way through this.
Constitution
A
and not
4.
wisdom. Oh
Thank you.
my god.
While you-
Literally a 4.
While she's rolling that, welcome third tier and your raiders. I'm sorry to be a little late on the welcome. We're glad to have you hanging out with us tonight. Third tier is an amazing mod and a great streamer. I would do a shout out, but I'm pretty sure that my bot is offline. But third tier, shout yourself out if you can. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, I apologize. But you can post links if you want to. Yeah, chat's off the rails. No one's swearing. I'm okay. I think. Here's the bad news. You start to rack your brain with stories about this particular song. And after a few moments, you can't think of anything but that tune.
Do I see Mir's face go blank?
A little bit. And then she starts dum ba dum ba da ba da bum.
I'm gonna grab both sides of Mir's face. Hey. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Oh,
Do they do anything? Or do they
Yeah,
come
do
back?
I do anything?
You can snap her out of it as your
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, yes, I would like to do that, yes.
No problem. Tiffany,
Okay.
you were doing something too?
Well, I had 2 things I want to do, but I wanted to see if Mir brought their instrument and have them play something. Can you play something else and see if that'll distract from?
Yeah,
it
like,
break the cycle of
hey.
tunes.
Something super like catchy. Some kind of, I
Go
don't know.
for it.
Sea shanty.
Give
Okay.
me a quick go ahead and make your performance check. I'm gonna do a quick roll behind the screen.
Dun, 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 dun. It's very threatening.
10. Don't worry. Someday I'll get over like a 10, but today's
Dice
not it.
really hate you. Oh my
They
god.
hate me.
You
Don't
didn't have
worry.
enough
They don't
bacon.
want me to be a bard, but when it comes to stabbing people in the face, the dice seem to do okay.
You're able to get a song out,
Yeah, specialties.
and you managed to start playing it. And as long as you're playing, everybody can stay in tune with that tune.
Okay.
The tabaxi, the cat, remains, and she starts to bob along with the beat, and she leans over to Jansen. It's simply nice to not have another tune in your head, isn't it?
You know, if you had any sort of control over yourself, you might not get stuff stuck in your head.
You've been able to not hum along?
I've literally just been sitting here thinking you guys were all insane. It's quite an annoying
And Jensen
feeling.
hasn't been humming too?
Nope. I've lived with things in my head my whole life.
True.
Can I concentrate, just think for a little bit, and then I'm just gonna get up and walk around the stacks and drag my fingers along. I want to see if I find a book that relates to this. Can I use that power? I might not find anything, but
Book that relates to this.
like, is there a journal hidden among here from somebody that went crazy 600 years ago?
You pull out a book, but it's not a journal. It's a songbook.
Ah.
And as you start to skim through it, you spot about 2/3 of the way in the write-up of the song that is currently filling the stacks, courtesy of your bard.
Okay. Not the song we're accidentally humming, but the one she's purposely playing. They are purposely playing.
Right.
Cool.
Dun, 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 bum, bum, bum. There it is. So as you're starting to get to the end of the song, what's everyone's plan?
I would, with the help of Vernier, maybe, like to gather all of the information that they have about the virus. I don't know what to call this, the song. And I would like to start in heavily investigating for anything in these books.
Okay, you can roll your investigation now.
Okay.
By the way, I do need Amir to give me a Constitution save.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Got this.
Actually, I do.
Are you kidding? It was on a 19 and then
then
it
it
just
tipped 2?
slammed a 1. It's a 9.
A 9.
Oh, wait. Do I need to make where you said Oh, you said Ember. I'm sorry, I misheard.
No, Mir needs to give me. I'm going to overrule the book on this. Give me a wisdom save. I know why it
You
says
sure
con.
it can't be Constitution?
No, it's a wisdom. I know why they put con in the book, but you're not taking damage in this case. So, this concentration's defaulting to wisdom. It just makes more. Okay, no problem. Thank you. You've got your tune going. Everyone's bopping along, and without even realizing you've done it, you're 4 chords into bum ba dum ba da ba da bum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba da ba da bum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum. And now, by the way, Linares, can you roll Jansen's wisdom save real quick?
Yes, I can.
Little Miss Braggart.
Wait, why don't? Why are none of my buttons actually doing anything?
No, I see it started to roll. This hasn't finished yet. So it's
Oh.
trying to.
Nothing's on my screen.
Like
my little option.
Sometimes the
see my
D20 rolls
dice.
off the side. Let me see if
Like
refreshing
the animation's not there, and then where it shows me what the rolls are is not showing up.
Oh dear, did D&D
also-
Beyond break?
Like it also, I've never seen this like current max HP heal damage thing before. That's new.
They did add a couple of things.
Oh, it did it! It did it! 14.
14. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. You are not humming along, but you are the only person in the room not.
I'm not happy about this.
Which is unfortunate. As you sit there. At this time, now the bard is fully playing the song. Everyone's bopping along with it. And that
We
would
realize?
Yeah.
Yeah, you start to realize this has happened as you look up from the books trying to find something in the history.
Mayor!
Yeah, so if I snap out of it, can I kind of reset and start playing a different song again and keep trying? Because it feels like, at least while we have something else in our heads, people are able to investigate and look and try to look through the stacks and stuff.
Yeah, go for it. Give me another wisdom
I'm-
save to get your head cleared.
But Mom,
Does Mir get advantage because I yelled for them?
Oh, come on, dice. Oh, finally, 18.
There we go. Yeah, no problem. You start to play up again, and everyone
Okay.
within the stacks is pretty much solid, following along as long as they can hear it. They're doing really well. What is Jansen doing at this time?
Well, I'm looking at everybody and I'm wondering what in the heck is wrong with them. Because I don't understand. Like, it's not that hard to just not sing. So there's that. And I'm trying to, I can't. There it is, I found it. I don't. I would like do something, but I just like.
You want to break something.
Yeah, like I'm just like it's really frustrating to just watch these people like not have any control over like themselves, and I'm just like,
It's a disease. We literally just learned that. I feel like it's not like lack of like people who get colds don't have a lack of self-control, right? It's
but
like,
what if
they're
it's not
sick.
a disease? But what if it's not a disease?
What if it's just a really annoying song?
What if there's somebody doing some magics? Because magics you can always think your way out of. You just gotta want it hard enough. I want to do some perusing and investigating while I'm down here, and they're doing that stuff. And I'm gonna be rough about it too. I'm not gonna be gentle.
Now, what are you investigating?
Just everything and everybody. I want to go around and I want to like poke at people's heads and like sniff stuff and see if maybe I can smell anything.
Is there a goop around?
I still have my
So
goop.
you're goop to people? Awesome.
Like, there's got to be something. Insight? Could I do insight instead?
What do you want
Into the...
Into what? Whose motives or plots do you want to discern?
The person that locked us in here.
Okay.
I forgot their name.
Vernier?
Vernier?
Vernier, yeah. You can go track her down and talk to her.
Suspiciously sounds like veneer, and I keep
Yes.
getting that mixed up.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find her. She's actually taking some time to head into the script. She's moved into the scriptorium to work as best she can.
Yeah, I want to go in there.
Okay.
I thought she was still with us.
No, she's actually stepped out because she needs to do something. That's what she says before she leaves. I need to feel like I can do something, and I don't research magical illnesses.
One question before you leave. Where were they when they found out they had a song stuck in their head and got locked in?
Somewhere down here.
So you don't know if it was this room or farther down or a different level?
But everybody who got sick was in this area.
Some got out and went mad.
What do you know about the book? Sculpture.
Oh, it's a sculpture of a book.
When was it put in?
I believe when they built this room.
I feel like when I did detect magic, it's above the table. Did I get any magical aura from the book?
The book has no magical aura.
Okay.
Really want the book involved. Sorry.
I know, we just really love this sculpture.
You really love that sculpture of the book. It is cool. I'm not going to lie.
Very good unknown page between two stories.
I have a question
Okay.
as a player to the DM.
Okay.
How old is Vernier? Vernier?
She's an elf. She's probably in the hundreds of years old.
Like 600 or more?
Are you going to ask a woman her age?
Yeah. Were you around when this happened?
No, I had not yet come to Candlekeep.
Okay. Just, But did you hear of it happening?
No, I don't believe I had.
Okay.
Jansen has a chance to kind of like get her alone. As she steps out, Jansen follows her into the scriptorium as she goes over and sits down, starts and looks over. She's like, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, so look, you see, you knew about this whole thing, right?
About what thing?
The whole locking us in here thing.
Well,
right?
I realized late last night that something was amiss, and I sent word above to inquire. Everyone else had gone to bed.
Well, you're not really. The dots aren't all connecting here. And I just really feel like you know more than you're telling us. So, you could help us out a little bit.
What more do you think I know?
I just think that it's quite suspicious that this thing, this thing that was around how many years ago?
Somewhere in the vicinity of 600.
Mm-hmm. And when was the last time you knew that it was around?
I don't know. Again, I sensed something was amiss. I sent word up above for the other scholars.
What made you think that something was amiss, though?
I'm not prone to having songs stuck in my head. And the observation that many others found themselves casually singing along made me concerned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you have done something differently?
I mean, I'm just saying.
As am I. What should I have done?
It might have been, I don't know, dude, okay? You're just weird and suspicious, and I don't trust you.
Well, then again, I ask you. What should I have done? If I have erred, please correct me. Or are you simply here to distract me from what little work I might find comfort in?
And Jansen and Bernier are like
In the next room.
off on that in the next room, so the rest of the party can't hear them.
Not until she comes back.
Okay.
So where exactly are we actually allowed to go?
The full of the cellar is open to you. We just
How big is the cellar?
well, the 2 library rooms and our quarters beneath.
Okay. And why the cellar? Why did you choose to lock us down here?
Because that's where we were when we became infected.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't decide for you to be quartered here.
When did you start to notice that something was amiss? How long after you had left the cellar?
I never fully left. I took messages up and had them conveyed at distance to others.
How?
I wrote a letter. I carried it up. I set it down where
So you
someone
did
could
leave.
find it. Well, I stepped out of the cellar enough to leave the message.
So you noticed that you were experiencing some tune stuck in your head. You got scared and you left. And now have us all quarantined in here with you. Did you not ever think that perhaps you were the reason that this little earworm is all around the place and the thing with all the people?
And then, if that accusation is in any way, shape, or form accurate, then what again would you have me do? Or are you denying it that everyone, save perhaps yourself, has been humming along to that tune in more and more intensity over the morning?
I'm going to kind of look around at the area, and I want to side question, what is she doing right now?
She's standing next to her desk with balled fists, and you are going to roll me a wisdom save.
It.
Can I re-roll it?
Use the Book of Fate.
I think it just means that
I'll allow
they're
it.
gonna get like the song stuck in their head.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
I refuse.
You've got them.
Kid. 18.
Okay. You start to hear the tune.
Wait, what?
And you push it back before you start to sing along. But it's there.
Okay. So she's got
Waiting
her
for the
fist balled up
voices
at
in
me,
her
right?
head to sing it, but her not to.
Yeah. There's that. I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to sing. And there's a moment where you have to work to push it down before you start humming it. You are tapping your foot in rhythm.
Is the area locked down? Like, how are we being kept here exactly?
I was about to ask too, is the door that seals us over a foot of stone thick?
You are free to investigate that. If you want to leave, if Jansen wants to leave to go investigate that, she can.
She did mention it was a magical seal.
Yes.
That's fine. I want to know if I can cast message to someone in the library, and I can cast it through doors.
Yep.
But it says
Yeah.
I can't cast it through magical silence or a foot of stone.
Yeah, if you get up to the hatch, you should be able to. If you remember correctly, when you were led here, there was a large wooden hatch that could be lowered over the staircase. That's probably what's been locked.
Oh, if it's wood, I think it's even thicker. I can send it through 3 feet of wood.
Meanwhile, while Jansen's having her showdown with the other elf in the basement, how are things going out in the main room?
I'd like to go over to Sho before Sho leaves and quickly ask her a question, or kind of start to make a conversation about, like, do you think, I mean, how to phrase this, like, it seems strange to me that we don't know what happened to any of these people. We don't know even that we don't know that the tune that caused the problem, and yet simply because we have a catchy song in our head, we're being locked in here. We can't even, there's no records from then, so they don't even know that this is the song that started the original problem.
We also don't know what the original problem was. The only thing that we know is somebody got a song stuck in their head, they got locked in, they went insane. Doesn't mean it was the song. Locking in would drive you.
That's definitely. And Vernier mentioned that some people did escape, but Candlekeep is still here, and at least, you know, I haven't heard tell of a city or civilization destroying disease. So clearly a few people escaped and it didn't get very far.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to be able to solve this locked in here.
No.
Speaking of which, I would love if the two of you could roll me wisdom saves.
It's probably going to go poorly.
As you tried to have this conversation.
It's an 11.
10?
My -1 wisdom was higher.
It's work, but you're able to have the conversation.
Okay.
Isn't right. Have I heard of anything like this before? Twofold. I want to know, if I look around, are there books that are very obviously 600?
So what was the book that
years?
you grabbed? Show always grabs the book that we need. What's the book that Show grabbed from the binding place?
I need to go back to the room and get the book and my flail.
Okay. You head back down, grab the book and your flail.
What is the book?
The book you grabbed.
That's when I started humming.
The book you grabbed last night was a wonderful collection of reflections upon quiet ponds. It is one of the best books to read before sleeping.
Yeah, but
try reading it. Maybe it'll like clear your mind long enough. I don't know.
As you work your way down to the to grab your flail and that book, you can hear Galeby is singing the tune from her room, and she's not able to suppress it.
I'm gonna stop in. We're gonna knock on Gilby's door.
Okay.
You okay in there?
Yeah. I'm not supposed to sing though. I'm sorry. Did it bother you?
It was interesting. Have you ever tried? Adding some different rhythm into it for bass line?
I can try.
Try. We're gonna wander on. Oh. I want to go back to the.
Back to the what?
Because the room I got the book.
Okay.
Because I picked up the book in the binding room, or was it the other room, and started humming. If I think back, can I think back and remember when I started humming?
It's about the time you
Claire
grabbed.
remembers, but I don't know if I would. But I thought it was about when I grabbed the book.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, you head back up that way. You get to the top of the stairs. Is Jensen going to stay and keep arguing with the head scribe, or are they coming back to the rest of the group?
With Barnier?
I'm actually going to show I want to get out of here. I don't like being tied up.
So you rejoin everybody in the main room, or are you continuing to argue with Veneer about this?
I want to use my aggression on her.
I won't stop you.
Linarius up.
I'm going to take this as I can't punch her, so I'm going to walk out of the room. and break something else.
Are there any like vases or like?
Yes.
On my way out. Okay, as I'm walking out, I'm gonna like just like on my way out.
Okay. No problem. You can channel that anger into breaking something. And
can I ask Ember, do you remember who started singing first? Where we first heard this song?
I mean, I'm up at the door.
You're all the way
out of
Where
here.
am I?
I've
sitting-
I've fully
You're
left.
with Mir.
you're in the center of the last I checked, Mir's in the main room trying to keep
okay.
music going to keep everyone distracted.
Okay.
Ember's gone off to check to see if she can message through the wall. Show's coming back up the stairs from the quarters.
As Show passes through there, because we were just talking, as Show passes by to go up the stairs, can I ask her if she remembers who started singing first?
Yeah. I think it was me. I'm pretty sure it was me.
I was not. Ember, the player, was not there, but it was Veneer who was singing first in our group of people, and then you started singing. Show started singing, and then I started singing. Was
today,
the order
this morning?
Oh, that is from I started. You and me and Veneer were singing yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Today I don't remember.
So what is Ember's goal
Clarification.
up at the hatch?
I would like to, if I can, since message is a cantrip, I would like to try to send a message to Connie. Is she 120 feet from the door?
10 stories.
It's the other side of a castle.
Oh.
You can
It's
you can
village
try.
castle.
Would Roger be close enough?
He's at the gate.
Can I remember any faces that we passed while coming in here?
Sure. Give me a first. Give me an intelligence check to see if you can remember somebody that might be within range of your message spell.
This is how do I do an intelligence check? That's not a saving throw?
Nope, just roll your intelligence. So just click the +2.
Oh, got it. 14?
Yeah, you can totally. Yeah, you think you remember somebody. Give me a wisdom save now.
Shoot. Ah. Are you kidding?
Oh dear. How bad?
Oh.
Oh.
Waiting for it.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
Should I re-roll? I kind of am interested to see what happens if I don't.
I kind of think what happens with the one. That's
Yeah, you start to.
Do I burst into flames and die?
No, but you're like, okay, yeah.
I will not let that happen.
Loafbone has requested a reroll.
to go with it.
Loafbone would like you to reroll that.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious.
That's fair.
Okay, much better. 18.
Okay, you can clear you fight. You get the song out of your head enough to start to cast the spell, and then you can lock into somebody.
Okay.
You think you've got one of the guards that you recognized when you came in last night. It sounds like they're coming on duty. You're able to connect with him.
Okay. Hi, this is Ember. I'm a friend of Steven, and we are right now locked down in Firefly Cellar. I was hoping that maybe you or Roger could get a hold of my best friend Connie. She works there, and maybe you could have her come to the door so we could communicate. I'm sure she knows message as well. Or you could just ask her to help us in researching, and maybe she can help us find a way out of here. Thank you so much. This is Ember, by the way. Thank you.
I will.
You can respond to this message.
He responds. I will do my best to relay the message to the artificer on your behalf.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Someone is helping from the outside. I can go mad now.
It'll be a few moments, but yes, I will do my best.
Okay.
And then he has no further response.
Yeah.
You start to come down the stairs, and to tell everyone what you've covered. So the 4 of you are back in the main
I
room.
also wrote it down.
Okay. And you hear a blood-curdling scream from the staircase that goes down into the quarters.
I'm off. Is it Gilby's?
You definitely would. It's either her or maybe the Tabaxi.
Or her father?
No, it's definitely not.
I'm gonna
her father.
stop playing and rush over.
Okay. You guys.
I'm pretty far away, but I'll run as well whenever I get there.
You start to bolt your way there down the stairs, and you can see a commotion in the kitchen, up around the corner of the kitchen at the end of the hall as you come down the stairs and start to head towards the quarters. And you hear 2 voices now sharing that same screech, like identical, as though it's like being doubled by some source.
Oh! Can I rip some of my cloak off and ball it up and shove it in my ears?
Sure.
Okay.
You think that would help?
I hope.
And you start to bust your way, you book down there, and then you can hear the song. And it's picking up tune. Dun 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 bum 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 bum, and it's getting louder. And as you come up, you see Galeby and Crinkle, the Kenku, standing at the edge of the kitchen. Ebdur is standing, leaning on the table, singing. And he's continuing to sing over and over and over. And he's starting to lose his breath.
Can I whack him over the head with, like, it's a kitchen, like a pot or something?
Knock him out?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yep.
not very, like, while saying maybe I'm sorry or something, but
Okay. Anyone going to do anything for Galeby? As
I
you
only have 2
grab a
arms.
frying pan?
Yeah, I'm gonna go stand in front of Galeby and I'm gonna put my hands on either side and cover her ears. I'm like, hey Galeby, it's okay. Keep your eye on
Is
it.
he okay? Is he okay? Is he okay? And then give me an attack roll.
It's gonna be fine.
is there, like, can I do that disabling thing?
Yep.
Instead of, like, the murdering thing? Okay.
Yes.
What kind of, I'm sorry, what do I roll?
Um,
Actions, unarmed strike, but
perfect.
I'm armed with a pan.
what are the stats of a frying?
Just push unarmed. It's fine.
Jesus Christ. All right, 9.
It hit.
Okay.
You have a massive bonus because of it. And you, bam, and he goes,
It's gonna be
Out.
hard to miss with a pan, so thank you.
and you realize that if you had not done that, he might have sung himself literally out of breath.
How very red shoes.
Oof.
Which means that when we meet next week, you now better figure out how to stop this before it passes to you.
Oh no, it's 10.
It's done.
Oh,
And that's that moment. And this,
Your mom coming in and being like, it's bedtime, and you're like, but
I know.
but it's a good cliffhanger.
This is
Okay.
really this is good.
I take 0 credit for this. This is the actual Candlekeep adventure as written for Shemshime's rhyme. It is one of my favorites they have in the book. I really like it. I'm loving torturing you with it.
Okay.
I will have thoughts when we're finished at some point. If anyone comes by when I'm doing a D&D prep, please come by and I'll talk about this because there's a lot of things I want to say about it to get it up and going and make it a little better set there. Snakeblood, thank you for joining the family. This is a great time to throw follows because I can actually call them out when they happen. But yeah, we did agree tonight we're going to wrap up at 10. It's been a hard week for a lot of us. There's a lot going on. So I want to make sure we keep to our schedule to let everyone get their rest so we can be back next week. If you need to know for sure what the plan is for a stream, at Lantern Noir is my Twitter. I use it almost exclusively to update when I'm going live or when the next show is going to be, or to recruit for shows, or in some cases to rant about the old guard of D&D who think that it was better back before it was inclusive. Because while I won't spend entire shows griping about that, every once in a while I'll slip in there that kind of a thing, that D&D is better now that there are things like no particular race is inherently evil. It's a product of the culture in which they are raised and the choices of the people they're in. It is better.
Full agreement.
Yeah. In fact, if you check tomorrow, the podcast for Happy Hour at the Old Timer Tavern will be up. And so you'll have the opportunity to hear Gray and I go through that. That was our topic this week. It's still fresh in my head.
It was really good.
Thank you.
I listened to it today.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, it's on YouTube now. If you check the socials. Everybody else, what's going on this week? Where else can we find you? Let's start with Molly. You got some streams coming up this weekend, you hope?
Probably not, because I'm gonna see family this weekend for 4th of July. So I probably am not streaming, but I have a full week of vacation after that. So I'll probably either be on Mega Dave's channel and we'll play some co-op games, or we might play some co-op games on mine during that time off. So
Are you going to co-stream It Takes Two?
oh, I do own that game. I actually did buy that game during the sales. So I do have It Takes Two. We may try that out.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I popped in Linares. I popped in on you. You were still working your way through Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah. So Birth by Sleep is one of the many games in Kingdom Hearts, and you have to play it 3 times to actually get the whole story. So we've done the first playthrough. We're on the last, and they're all different. Like each playthrough is different. You're playing as a different character, so it's like different pieces. It's like a different perspective of the story, and they like all come together at the end. And so we've finished one of the characters. We are almost done with the second, and I expect to start the third one probably on Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, and then 12-hour stream in a couple of weeks, which is exciting.
Awesome. Are you taking 4th of July weekend off too, or are we going to see you on Sunday?
No, but we're not really there. Actually, I have some surprises for stream on Sunday, so I'm really excited. Nobody knows. Nobody, not even my mods know about it yet, so it's going to be fun.
Ooh, the super secret stuff. We're not going to get the scoop here, are we?
No.
And Jesse, you're moving? Are we going to see you online? Anything?
So I have a stream with Third Tier on Friday. We've been doing this podcast where we talk about science and politics and everything. It's been a wonderful way to get some streaming in without needing the hardware to stream myself. Or is it Monday? What did I say? We're not doing Friday? Oops. All right. Oh yeah, we switched to once a week. I'm sorry. Monday now. But currently my work visa applications and everything have been submitted. So when that goes through, which should be about 7 to 10 business days, I'll be in Sweden. And then hopefully my stuff arrives there the 7th. So hopefully I'll be able to return to streaming machine learning programming stuff shortly after. I need time to adjust to the jet lag, but hopefully soon after I'll be able to stream.
Cool. And then unfortunately, Tiffany has a situation going on this weekend. The big deal is that Wooly Nelson, who's one of our mods, is celebrating another successful orbit of the sun. And so their time is going to be significantly tied up with that. So best wishes to them and everything on that front, because it's a big deal. The sun, it's a painful thing to lap. You definitely feel every full orbit you start to feel in your joints, lower back, forehead region, knuckles, ankles, heart, breathing, liver.
I have never heard anybody actually explain it that way. Instead of saying like you're getting older, so like instead of looking at it as time, you're looking at it as actual like solar revolutions. That's really cool.
I will only go down this further with you if you have not found it. I will send it to you. I'll put it on my Discord and I'll kick it to our group. There's a guy who has a video called Casually Explained, and it's getting older. It's life as a video game. Like you spawn in, you pick what region you want to spawn into first. Some are easier than others. You're assigned some other player characters who are going to guide you through your first 4 levels, which are mostly just interactive cutscenes. It's a really fun video.
Familiar. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Okay. As is the habit, I want to send you guys off somewhere. I want to send you to the other pond, who is an amazing streamer. That other pond, she streams all kinds of games. She's also a DM, and she's on tonight playing, would you believe, It Takes Two. But it's also the Reluctant Hermit's streamerversary tonight. I'm going to kick you guys at him because I am so excited. He's an amazing content creator. He's been trying to get to the game table for D&D, and our schedules haven't matched up just yet, but we're working on it. And I want you guys to show him some love because he is just an amazeballs person. So I'm going to throw you guys over there to hang out for the rest of the evening while me and my players have some time to do our end of stream debrief. And check in with each other, say hi on my behalf, let them know that I will be along shortly, but my top priority is my players, making sure they're all doing okay with everything, and to be sure we know when we're going to be getting together again. So thank you for coming by tonight. Thank you to Snakeblood for the follow. Thank you, Third Tier and Eric, for the raids. A huge thank you, Squishy, as well, for joining. Ear, thank you for the cheers. It's great to have that support. And Azteki, thank you again for continuing 7 months of subscribing. And Nebula, thank you for bringing in your raid to kick our show off. It's great having everybody here. It's great to have the support. It makes it a lot easier to feel like I'm doing a good thing. And thank you especially to Tiffany and Molly and Jesse and Linarius for hanging out with me, a random dude on a Wednesday night who basically is emotionally torturing you. And thank you for agreeing to come back for more of it.
We love it.
On that note, we'll see everybody in a week. Until then, stay safe and read more books.